Okay. Oof. Good morning. All right, guys, I'm stretching. So I have been sitting in a computer chair for like 3 years, probably more than that because I've had other jobs. But anyways, I'm getting, I think sciatica. You guys, I'm 29. I have sciatica. What's going on? I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna label myself and support that vision of myself. Welcome. All right, let's do this. So we are here this morning live from New York. Hello. What can I help you guys with today? We're going to do like a nice little life coaching live. It's going to be 90 minutes today. So whatever I can help you guys with, let me know, and we're going to do it. I'm trying to go live every single day, Monday through Friday. Yep, 90 minutes a day. Let's go. All right, so I'm going to sip on some coffee while you guys kind of roll in. Good morning. My name is Andrew. I've been a life coach for 3 years. And I'm trying to figure out my path forward right now. I think it's very common that we have these like cycles, right? Where we think we know what we want and then we get it and then we're like, wait, I don't think I want that anymore. So I'm trying to figure out kind of my path right now. I've been doing this for 3 years. I love life coaching. I'm very good at it. I can help you with so many different things and I can teach you tools that will literally change your life. And I'm excited to do that. So as you guys kind of roll in, let me know whatever I can help you with and I will be happy to do it. I like how I can like my own live. I always thought that was kind of funny. So kind of rolling in, people. Let's do this. You guys can ask any question you want. We're going to keep this kind of conversation lean flowy. And then also, if anybody's interested, as people roll in, I'm starting a community. It's going to be teaching everyone the life coaching tools I think everyone should have access to and learn. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. And I will, you can DM me and I'll be here. So awesome. All right, we're going to let people get in and that's all good. All right, it's going to be like 2 seconds. I'm going to drink some coffee. Wow. Starbucks makes an instant that is so good. It's like I don't know, it's like an instant powder and something. All right, so we're gonna let some people roll in while we get this going. Good morning, pour some sugar. So girl, I read your comment, by the way. I tried responding with as simple as a question as I could because it was kind of a lot of information. So if you want help with your relationship, I think the technical, I don't know how to say this without just like saying it to you because it's a lot. If you want, thanks for likes, by the way. If you want help with your relationship, I think the best thing I can do for you, what I always recommend, is get to a place where you take full responsibility for your emotions, your side of the emotions in the relationship, right? So make sure that you're not blaming your partner for being angry, upset, any of that stuff, okay? This is a skill set we develop in coaching. It's like, how can I take responsibility for my emotions? What creates in my thoughts? We do this over and over again. So that's what I recommend for step one, right? Once you have that and your partner no longer emotionally triggers you or, does any of that, we want to decide what's the best case scenario for us, right? What's the best case scenario for our life if we could have anything? Where's that partner going to fit in? Do I want to be with them anymore? Do I not want to be with them anymore? And that's kind of where we start, okay? And from that place, if you have like a vision for your life that you really want, we have to draw boundaries, right? So if you don't want your partner to be in your life except for like being fathering of your kids and you want strict boundaries, we have to honor those and set those, right? So it's kind of just it's a progression, right? Life coaching is something that happens over, it's just like it's developing your emotional well-being over time so you can get the results you want, right? So if you are interested in doing that, pour some sugar, and you can ask questions too. Seriously, ask anything. Let me know, and I would love to have you in my community. And in the community, I'm going to try to teach those tools very, very cost effectively, like less than $10 a month, and then actually apply them together, right? And I'll do a live call, and then I'm going to try to thank you for the heart, I really appreciate that. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm really trying to build a community of people who want to learn these tools, learn them, embody them, practice them, and be in there for a while so they can learn and embody, right? That's my goal. So does that make sense to you? What do you think about that? Good morning, everyone. So we're doing a life coaching live. Good morning, Coco. I love that name. We're doing a life coaching live today. So whatever you guys need help with, let me know. I got 90 minutes to do this. And then I will, I'll be back on tomorrow. So whatever I can help you guys with, I've been doing this for 3 years. And yeah, awesome. That's what I think too. It's like, it's a progression, right? Before you decide what the best course of action for a relationship is, I recommend taking full responsibility for your side of the emotions. That's all. And that's not to blame or shame anyone in the relationship. It's just, we want to control what we can control. Always our emotions we can learn how to control. So yeah, I would love to have you in the group. I'm really just trying to figure out what it's going to look like. I'm spiritual. I believe in God. And I've been asking God lately, like, what is my path? Because I've owned a business for 3 years and I'm very good at coaching and like my ability to coach is no longer a question. I have to build a business that feels good to me or else there's no point in building a business. So I'm really trying to talk through God this week and figure out like, is the community what I want? Is that what I want, to build that community out? And then like, what's the best thing for me and the clients if I'm gonna do this and help people? So yeah, sometimes we think we want something like to become a life coach, and then we get it and we're good at it and we're like, wait, this doesn't feel how I thought it would, and then we have to redecide what we want again, and that's okay. It's just a progression. How did I stop smoking? Really good question. Smoking is not a smoking problem. It's a symptom, okay, is what I like to say. So it's a symptom of what? It's when we're not smoking all the time, we don't like what's there. And most of the time what's there is emotions that are very uncomfortable. So if you want to help yourself not smoke, you have to learn how to feel the emotions that you're currently using smoking to kind of distance yourself from. Does that make sense? It's that simple. And the way that I help people with my framework that I've created is I call it the 3 addictions. There's obviously the chemical side of smoking. Yes, nicotine's addictive, right? True, factual. But that's not the actual problem. There's also the emotional and the mental reasons for smoking. Excuse me, the thoughts and the emotions tied up together is why we're smoking. So if I can help you understand the thoughts, the emotions, take control over those, then the chemical ceases to be a problem, and you'll see that it was never actually about the chemical. Make sense? It's that simple, and it will work for you. Okay? What's up, Katie? I have no idea where to start when quitting vaping. Yes, I talked to God, but I haven't... If you're actually serious, Katie, and you're talking to God, because I was just talking to God this morning. I literally, I'm not just saying this to say this. I'm very spiritual. I believe in God. I sincerely asked God this morning, help me find a way to bring people that need me to me. And I have a vaping course and program. It's in my bio. You can, even if you don't want to buy it, that's okay. But I do believe it's a coincidence. And coincidences, by the way, aren't random. They're perfect angles. When 2 perfect things meet, it's called a coincidence. Pretty interesting, right? So I believe coincidences are an act of God. So go look at the course in my bio. And even if you don't buy the course, you can go to the Quit Vaping podcast. It's just completely free. But the course will help you understand everything, okay? What's up, A? I'm faded off the pen this early. How do you get out of loneliness? It's a good question, Laura, but loneliness doesn't come from being alone, okay? That's the most, I know that's like, what does that mean? It doesn't. Like, okay, so one minute. If you guys want or are interested in anything I'm saying and it makes sense to you, I want to invite you to join my community soon. So let me just invite you, and then, one sec. Okay, so there's a DM there. If anybody's interested in joining my community, I'm going to teach you really high quality life coaching tools for either free or very affordable. I'm not sure yet. I'm asking God. God's gonna give me the answer. But it's either gonna be free or $7 a month. If I do this community, I'm not sure yet. I'm still talking to God and coercion with God with this. But if I do it, that's what it's gonna be. I'm gonna teach all these tools and try to give access to people high life coaching tools for really cheap, because I've paid tens of thousands of dollars and I think that that's wrong. Okay. Anyways, let's answer your question now. So how do you get out of loneliness? Yeah, so great question. Here's what I want to say to you is I have been getting, I don't know if you do tarot or not, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it can be used for good. But I believe that it's really good to learn how to be by yourself and not feel lonely. And for the last couple of years, every single time I've done a tarot reading with my friends, I've gotten like the hermit card, which is saying I need to go be alone. And what I've learned over the last couple of years is I was not okay being alone by myself. So I think one of the most important things you can do for yourself is learn how to manage your emotions completely alone by yourself. And then when you want to get into a relationship, you're not expecting that person to feel good or to not feel lonely. You never want to use a person outside of you to feel an emotion, right? Because that's not the point of a relationship. So I think that the best way to not feel lonely or alone by yourself is to ask yourself, like, what am I currently thinking that's making me feel alone? Is it true? Right? And start paying attention to your thoughts. Start writing them down. Start becoming more intimately aware with your thoughts, because that's who you are. Casserole, quitting vaping caused me to start overeating for the dopamine hits. Yeah. It makes sense, but it's not the dopamine hit that you're after, it's the escape of the emotion. So see it that way and it's easier to understand. So quitting vaping didn't make you hungrier, it just made you hungrier to avoid your emotions that you were using vaping to avoid. Make sense? And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Okay. One sec. I really need a community. I'd love to have you, seriously. And I'm trying to find a way to make it actually beneficial for you to be there and get so much more value than I ever charge. I really am trying to do that. And I really am in coercion with God right now, trying to figure out how that's going to work for both of us, because I want to feel good about my business and I want you to get more value than you pay. So I believe there's a way to do both, and I'm just kind of praying over it, honestly. Rachel, I need to quit vaping. I went from smoking to vaping. Yes, so that's because there's two. Okay, so go to my link in my bio. It's called the Escape the Vape. It's a program, but go read through it. And then I also have a podcast called the Quit Vaping Podcast. It's really good. Go check it out. I will only take a community. We got this. I believe in you. Thank you. Thanks, Katie. All right, the one no good for lungs, mate. The one no good for your lungs, mate. What else, Laura? I'm sorry, Laura, what? Not mine with the vape in hand. I need to stop. If you actually want to stop, I can help you. and you can the number one thing I can tell you really quick in like a passing moment on live is it's not actually about the vape. The vape is a symptom, right? Because when you were young, when you were a little kid, you didn't need nicotine. But now you always believe so you need it and you can't cope with it, right? Why? Because you had all these emotions come up normally, normal emotions as an adult that now we've never really been processed how to deal with and how to be with without substances, right? So if you want help with that, I got you. It's a dedication. A, you're so funny. Thank you so much. I feel so lost. Seriously, I'd love to have you. You are the exact kind of person. But I want you guys to know that the community is going to be spiritual. It doesn't have to be religious, but I do believe in God, and I am asking God to help me build this, so I have to spread that message that we're here to get more connected to our source energy, our perfect divine creation. I have to talk about that. So the tools I teach will be very literal in cognitive behavioral therapy. They'll be very like tangible tools. They won't be like woo-woo spiritual tools, but the whole entire idea is that I'm going to help you build a life that aligns with all unconditional love, right? Pretty much is what God is. So what's my thoughts on corn? I think that it's not, listen, so I think from a spiritual perspective that it's not good to like bastardize sex, because sex is like the creation energy. I don't think it's wrong to watch corn, okay? I don't think you're a bad person for it. I think that everybody has natural sexual desire, and corn is it's like, just like sugary foods have been concentrated to taste really good. Corn has been concentrated to be really good for our sex reward system, right? So you shouldn't be shameful about watching it. Just make sure you like the reasons you're watching it and you like the effect it has in your life. That's all, right? And if you find that you have no control over it or there's an issue, join my community. We'll talk about it. And we'll do it without any shame. There's no shame in my community at all. There's no reason for shame. If shame worked to help you create a better life, you would have already had a better life, right? What the quote I have from yesterday, my quote of the day was, shame is always optional and it never helps. Okay, so that's not how I coach. I don't quit. You're funny. Best way to quit vaping: go to my course and deal with all 3 addictions. Is truly the answer I have for you. It's in my bio. Just go check it out. It's the link in my link tree. It's called Escape the Vape. Tina, seeking something outside of yourself will fulfill whatever void you have. Oh, to fulfill will always leave you lost. Exactly, but people don't know that, right? It's like, what does that mean, right? I actually show people what that means. Like, because and until you know what emotions you're experiencing, you don't know that you're seeking outside of yourself, right? So that's what we explore in coaching. It's like, wait a minute, what's it mean seeking? Well, it's like, what do you feel when you're not seeking? What do you feel in your body when you're not drinking or vaping? Or, oh, I feel a lot of like shame about my life. Well, that's what you're seeking, is escape from the shame, not desire for the substance, right? So that's what we do in coaching, is like we explore these things in a really real way, and I give practical tools to overcome them, right? That make you actually feel better about yourself and love yourself. The goal with coaching is to create a relationship with yourself that you actually like yourself so much, genuinely, that you don't need to escape yourself. That's the trick. Yes, if quitting vaping hits real, I got you. Go to my link in my bio. Okay, I'm telling you, there's 3 addictions. I help you deal with all 3, and I do it from this exact framework I'm talking about. So if what I'm saying makes sense to you logically, anything in this life, it's all in the vaping course. Tomorrow, my boyfriend still has photos of his ex from 10 years ago, and he said to forget or delete them. He said he forgot. What's it matter to you? I'm just curious, because I have photos of my ex. Like, I had a loving relationship. The first person I fell in love with was German. His name was David, and we had a beautiful relationship. And I have photos of him. What's the problem? I don't want to erase my memories to be with a new person. I don't think that's appropriate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for example, I'm a business owner, right? Do I think that to succeed at business, I have to burn down every other job and business memory I've ever had? No, that's silly. It doesn't make sense. And I learned so much from being in that relationship. And I can actually unconditionally love David still and still choose to be with another partner and love them unconditionally as well. There's no ands or ifs, right? So I'm just curious why it bothers you. What are you making that mean about yourself as a person that they have pictures, right? Because you're taking it personally. That's the problem. Jaxie, what's the best tip to quit vaping? Your thoughts are optional, and right now you have a whole bunch of them that don't feel optional, that are making you addicted, pretty much. Could you help with grief over a lost friend? 100%. I think that the number one thing you want to do for grief over a lost friend is let yourself have time to let whatever come up, honestly. I think that most people in this society have been taught that grief is wrong and bad, and that it's like, it should be contained in a container and a weird, so yeah. Of course I can help you with that, but I think that you can also help yourself with that by just letting yourself be in all the shitty emotions, right? Your thoughts down, write your emotions down, be there for yourself, validate your own experience on that, right? But I could help you with it if it's perpetuating. And if you want, you can join my community. Seriously, I want you guys in there. If you want to do this work and to make it a long-term thing and to actually show up and transform your life, I would love to have you in the community. It's going to be amazing. And every month I'm going to release a new course. Magneto, that's great. I think that's a compliment. All right, so what about saying, sorry guys if I skipped comments, my shit just jumped and I just missed a bunch of them. One sec. I'm sorry. Okay, So I'm just going to do a speed round so I get to everybody's comments, okay? What about quitting smoking? Same addiction. Nicotine's nicotine. Yes, my tools will work. Any advice on getting a girl to like you and think about you? Like yourself and think about yourself the way that you want them to think about you. Exactly right. Your reflection of people's response to you is a reflection of your response to yourself. So if you want to get girls, you have to believe you're the kind of person who attracts girls. And you have to believe that, right? You can't just fake it. Lan, is vaping better than smoking? It's subjective. I think it's got less, it's the chemicals that it doesn't have, it makes up for with heavy metals. So I don't want to say subjectively or objectively that it's better or worse. I think it could be argued all day long, but we know it's a poison. Josephine, I do forget about vaping. It's just the cravings get me. Yeah, if you're still having cravings, those are emotional, by the way. If you have cravings after the 10-day mark, you're in emotional cravings, not in nicotine cravings. This is random. I'm not sure if you can help, but I have a pageant this weekend, and I'm so in my head about it. Yeah, of course I can help you with that. Like, let yourself be anxious for it. That's not a problem to be anxious, but then also remind yourself that you can manage your thoughts and you can actually think from the end result. So if you are nervous about an event coming up, pre-frame your mind. It's very important. This is what all the athletes do, by the way. Think about yourself getting the result you want. If you want to win that pageant, imagine yourself. What's it going to be like when I win first place? What's it going to feel like in my body? What am I going to think about myself? What is the whole entire experience of that result? Put yourself there before you ever get on that pageant, and it'll be so much easier to create it for you. Okay? You just have to stop vaping. I agree. Some people bored AF can just quit, and that's fine. I'm not saying my tools are the only way to quit, but they do help. And if you're having trouble, I know why, because I also had trouble for 7 years. It wasn't so simple for me just to put it down. Jackson, what about saying no to them? I'm not addicted, but I have a hard time saying no. I don't remember what the comment was, but if you want to say no to somebody, you can always just do that. That's all good. It's a boundary issue, right? Emily, I need help with motivation. I found myself doing yes. Emily, you have a belief system issue. It's manifesting as a motivation issue, okay? So what happens is, like, if I fully believe that what I want is possible and going to happen, then I don't have a motivation issue. So most people, what happens is, like, I want to try this thing out. It's like, I'm going to play guitar, right? I play it for a couple days and then I lose interest. It's like, because you stop believing that it was going to be successful. Somewhere along the line, your belief went from, this is awesome, I'm going to be famous, to, oh shit, this is way harder than I thought and I don't think it's going to work. But we don't even realize that happens, right? All we see is that we lose interest, but what really happens is we lost belief, okay? And that's what I help people with, really, is learning how to manifest belief for yourself and hold it so you can actually create results. Sorry about the dogs. Advice in relationships. Yes, don't give your emotional responsibility over to anybody else. This is the one thing I have. Segs. Carlos, what if I have the motivation to do it, but I can't seem to push myself to do it? Then you're not motivated. Motivation is a naturally driving emotion. If you're actually motivated, you would naturally be using that motivation to take action. So you're not motivated. You just think you should be, right? A lot of people look at their life and they think that the emotion they're experiencing isn't actually the emotion they're experiencing, okay? And the proof is always in the action line, right? If I think I'm excited for something, but I'm not taking action, then I'm not actually aligned with my body. I don't know what I'm feeling. Because excitement, motivation, those drive action, always. My certification is in the life coach school, positive psychology, what's the other one called? There's another one that's like all, and the rave right now that I got, I forgot what it's called. And then I have one from Alchemy, or I don't even know. I have 3 certifications. The life coach school is the best one. Advice in relationships. Yes, again, don't give your emotional responsibility to somebody else. All right, guys, I'm going to skip some comments. I'm really sorry. I don't normally do this, but I have 50 and I'm too far back and I'm getting nervous. So I'm on God's follower. Love that name. Me too. Everyone thinks I'm good looking and I also think that too, but I'm insecure. Well, me too. There's nothing wrong with that, by the way. That's just like the plight of being human, right? Thanks, Abby. I do have good energy. Just join my community. DM me and say, hey, I'm interested in your community because I'm starting it next week and it's going to be a really low ticket or free community to learn all my life coaching tools because I believe in putting goodwill in the universe and I want to help people learn how to do this. All right. There's no problem with being insecure. Everyone's insecure. It's just like I'm insecure about my looks too. A lot of people go, oh, you're objectively attractive. Not really. I don't feel that way. I hate myself most days. I literally think about walking in traffic sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my brain. It's like your brain is designed to be positive and negative. There's nothing wrong with the negative part. Okay. I shouldn't have said that last thing. Sorry, that was intense. But really, like, my brain just throws me thoughts sometimes that are really nasty. And it's like, I just don't believe them anymore. I choose not to. And that's the work, right? So, what's up, Olive? Sorry about skipping your comments if I did, guys. I just want to leave. I'm not worth it. I have 7 failed tries. My failed makes fun of it. What if the 8th time is the one you make it, right? All I want to say to you is, Olive, I know where you're at right now with your mindset. I get it. Listen, I totally understand. It's hard. Going after whatever it is that you're trying to do is difficult. And it feels like it's a never-ending uphill battle. I understand that, okay? But you've got to be able to manage your thoughts through it. You've got to choose to believe that it's going to work out. And if you need help, then you go sit down and meditate and ask God for support and say, God, I'm really going through it today. Even if you're not religious, say, universe, I'm really going through it right now, right? And just like let whatever wisdom comes in to help you get through this tough time. I want to say this to you, and maybe it isn't appropriate time to say it because you're really in the negative emotions, but in the negative emotions is where the growth happens. So whatever you're going through right now, you have to go through to become the kind of person who makes it on the 8th time. Okay? I know this, by the way, because I just told myself this exact shit last night. I was having a really rough night. And I said to myself, I don't want to hear it, but I know that I need to go through this. And I asked God for the lesson I need out of this emotion. And I got it. And here I am again showing up. Okay? So, what's up, user 467? Life coaches have no credentials. Well, I could tell you my credentials, but it sounds like you're already not going to believe me, so it's all good. I don't feel like it today. I don't need to justify who I am. If what I'm saying makes no sense to anybody here, then you guys don't have to comment or ask for help. Okay? But it's all good. Bruh, oh God, you're gay. I am gay. Yes, it's all good. You're welcome, God's follower. No, what? Try to pay attention when it happens and when it could happen around. That could help. Thanks to user 615 for trying to help. What if the 8th time is the one you make it? Right if it is, right? I say this to myself every day. I don't care how many times I've tried in the past. Like, facts, even as an atheist. Yeah, all good, right? Listen, I don't really care if you're religious or not. My divine purpose here on earth is to help people find way to unconditional love. And I believe that unconditional love is God. And if you talk to, I'm not going to try to convince you of believing anything. I don't care what you believe. It's all good. Like, I would love for you to align with my beliefs. You don't need to get help here. So everyone's welcome. Anyone who wants to learn and grow, you're welcome here. That's all I have to say. And if you want to join my community, I'd love to have you. DM me and be like, hey, that sounds interesting. I'd like more information. We'll get into a dialogue on DMs and I'll figure out if you're a good fit and I'll let you know. Okay. So that's all. You're so dedicated to my work. I'm trying to be more consistent. Thanks, God's follower. I love your vibe too. I really do. I'm not just saying that. So DM me. Be like, hey, your community on school sounds great. I'm putting together right now. I'm going to have, the whole idea for my community is I'm going to have 2 foundational courses on the basic tools I teach. Okay. One of them is going to be a thought management tool. That's like the basic thing. And then I'm also going to teach you about how your brain works. Those are the foundational courses. And then every month, in addition to this, I'm going to add on a really high quality course on relationships, how to make decisions. So in a year or so, I'll have an entire stockpile of courses so that anybody who wants to learn life coaching tools can do it really affordably. And then I'm also, if people want to get life coaching, trying to find a way to make it really fucking affordable for anyone, like cheaper than therapy, even though I think it's higher quality than a lot of therapy. So if you're interested in that mission, it is going to be spiritual based. You don't have to become Christian or spiritual to be in my community, but just know that I am a follower of God and the work I'm doing is through God. So whether or not you want to do that or talk about that is totally up to you. The tools will work either way, but that's what I'm doing. Okay, so you can always DM me and be like, hey, your community sounds great. It's literally going to be either free or $7. I'm talking to God right now what the best choice is, and I'm listening to God's answer. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to charge. So, okay, I'm the guy who hates when people smoke. It doesn't matter. I'm the quit vaping coach, and I don't care who smokes, right? If you want to quit and it's not creating results you want in your life, I can help you. If you want to keep vaping, then it's your time to keep vaping. It's no big deal. No shame, no guilt. That is not how we grow. The growth is not... Shame and guilt don't. It's your time to keep vaping. It's no big deal. No shame, no guilt. That is not how we grow. The growth is not. Shame and guilt don't perpetuate growth. Sorry, my friend's calling me, and I love her dearly, but I can't take that call. All right, I just want to leave. I'm not worth it. I had 7 failed tries. We talked about this. Listen, Olive, if you're still feeling this way, DM me, okay? Let me give you some inspiration today. I can't do it right now until after I'm done with the live. DM me, girl. All right, let me know. Talk to me about it. If you just need a vent, it's okay. I'll do that for you. All right? I know where you're at. And I'm saying this off personal. I had a really fucking rough night last night. I've been doing this coaching business for almost 3 years, and I feel like I'm not really gaining traction the way I wanted to, and it's really easy to get in your head about that, okay? I get it. But DM me. You're not alone. 7 tries is nothing. I've been doing this for 3 fucking years. How many tries have I put in? I'm not saying that to shame you, but like, I'm just saying every time that I've tried, I've learned something, all right? I'll be on, and I just have to keep believing that, or else I'm going to give up, and I don't want to give up. I'll be the one to hand you a lighter because you, actually with dissatisfaction, you're so funny. Colette, I need more immediate things to do in the middle of anxiety attack, especially in public. Yeah, the number one thing I can say for you with anxiety, especially if you're in the midst of an attack, let it be okay that you're having an anxiety attack. I know that that's weird to hear, like, but I don't want to, but it's you resisting the anxiety attack that's making it worse. What we resist persists. And there's no truer statement in the world with emotions that what you try to get out of makes it bigger. So if you're in an anxiety attack, what I would say, literally, I kicked my thing. What I would literally say to myself is, this is anxiety. It's okay. It's a lot of energy. It's in my chest. Start paying attention where it is and being okay with it, right? Like, this is okay. It's in my chest. It's all right. You're allowed to be here. It's all good. My hands are there. It's okay. It's all right. Nothing's gone wrong. This emotion is normal. This experience is valid, right? You want to bring it into your body, right? So what I want to say is, like, imagine you have a kid, right? Imagine you have a kid that is like really emotional, and they just need a space to be emotional, right? If we try to say don't be emotional, they're gonna freak out even more, right? So why would we think it's any different with us? Your emotions just need to be valid. You need to process them before you can even do the thought work to overcome them, okay? It's TikTok, bro. Everyone can comment. Who did I say something? Did I say someone shouldn't comment? I think we're really good at speaking. Thank you. I am. I've done this a lot. I appreciate that. I'm insecure being myself, especially when others are trying to get to know me. I don't like it. Get on my DM me. Please DM me. If you guys, seriously, if anything I'm saying makes sense and you're like, okay, this might work, this might help me in my life, DM me. I'm trying to put together 100 people that want to get in this community so that you can hit the ground running with other people that are also learning and willing to be vulnerable. I don't care if you join anonymously. I don't care, whatever. I'm going to do one call that's a coaching call a week. Did I vote for Trump? I did. And it's okay, whatever your opinion is on that. But I'm open about saying that out loud, and it's okay if you guys don't like me for that. I have my reasons, and they're rooted in love, not hatred or fear or anything negative. So how do I quit nicotine? Yes. Nicotine has 3 addictions: mental, emotional, chemical. Okay? So if you want help with that, I recommend you go to my podcast, the Quit Vaping Podcast, and it'll give you all the free information you need for the rest of your life to help you quit. I have so much anxiety around my relationships. I always fear he's going to leave me. That's a problem you have with yourself, right? That's probably, I'm not saying it's not valid, by the way. It's probably rooted in something traumatic. So what I recommend is find a place, whether it's in therapy or coaching, to be able to talk about who you are as a person and work that stuff out with somebody who has an objective voice, okay? All right, guys, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. I'm so sorry for that. I apologize, but it was just a lot of comments. Hannah Johnson, love your name. I don't know why. It's killing my motivation. If it's vaping or any substance, yes, get on my DM me and tell me more about it. If it's just vaping, though, I have a course in my bio. You can just check it out, or the Quit Vaping Podcast. Either one's good. I'm insecure of being myself, especially. Yes, we talked about that, right? It's okay. Get in to DM me, God's follower. I'm serious, because what I'm going to help you do is learn how to manage your thoughts about yourself, and that's what you need to do. Because when you're in a situation, when you're insecure, it's like I'm believing all these thoughts about myself that I'm weird or going to show up weird or people don't like me, and we can actually learn how to manage those thoughts and show up differently. And that's the skill set I teach, really. That's like the main meta skill, and then everything else that I make courses about will build off of that skill, okay? I can't leave my job. I get paid too good. That's okay. Then find a way to be grateful for your job instead of feeling like not grateful about it. I'm really being serious. That's it. Like because if you're in a situation that you don't want to leave, then the benefits are outweighing the negatives, even if you don't believe that in the moment, right? If the money is worth putting up 40 hours of your time for, then don't let yourself, it's like a losing situation when you choose not to be grateful about it, right? Well, it's like, I like the money, but I hate here. It's like, now you get to make money and it feels like crap. What if you could just choose to make money and say to yourself, like, even though this isn't the most aligned work I could do, I'm so grateful for the life it provides, and I'd rather be in this life than one where I don't have money, where I'm going after something that feels more aligned, right? It's a different way to look at it. It's going to help you. Teens are wild these days, yeah. Tips for stop overthinking. Stop believing all the thoughts. That's the problem. Right now, it's not an overthinking issue. It's an overbelieving issue. And you actually, as a divine creator, I do believe that we're born in God's image, so we have a lot of the power that God does, right? So I think that God gave us the power to decide what we want to think and believe, and that's what allows us to create the life that we want. So although random thoughts will always just pop in your head, like mine do all the time, good and bad, I get to choose which ones I want to focus on and build proof for and believe. And that's where your power is as a divine creator, okay? Tips to stop habits. Yes, start feeling your emotions, because every habit you have that you don't want right now is being driven by emotions that you don't want to experience every single time. What's up, Lorena? Great question. Simple, right to the punch. I love it. How do I feel about myself? 2 things. 1, DM me and say, Andrew, I want to join your community, because I would love to have you. And then number 2 is learn how to manage your thoughts about yourself. That's the skill set. Okay, that's the skill set. Your emotions are created by your thoughts. Right now, if you're not feeling good about yourself, it's because of all the things you're thinking and believing about yourself. So you can actually change that and turn it around with practice, right? Just like all the negative things you believe about yourself have been practiced over time because of various experiences in your life, we can unpractice and actually build better relationship with ourselves and start feeling better about ourselves without changing anything external. And that's the magic. That is the magic. So if that sounds interesting to you, I would love to have you in my group. I'm going to teach 2 foundational courses about how your brain works and about how to manage your thoughts. And those 2 courses will give you immense value. And then if you ever want coaching, I'm trying to find a way to do it in a really cheap, affordable way that'll be cheaper than most therapy. Okay? So if that sounds good to you, check out, DM me, be like, hey, that sounds awesome. I want more information. And I'm trying to figure out right now, I'm trying to talk to as many people as possible so I can build a community that makes sense for you to want to join, not just one that I think would be good for you. Okay. Thanks for the follows, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks, Tobacco, Hot Girl, Claire Jones. I appreciate it, girl. All right. Oh, 2, thank you for the follow. Quit vaping. Yes, I have 2 options for you. I have a Quit Vaping podcast or I have a Escape the Vape program. Either one's fine. The Escape the Vape program is $97, which if you're not ready to buy it, then go to the free shit. The podcast is great. Whenever you have time today, look up the Quit Vaping podcast. It'll find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple, it's on Pod Hub, all the places. Podcasters is like a yeah, go look it up and then it'll change your life. It's changed so many, literally hundreds of thousands of people's lives all over the world right now. Am I Christian? Yes, I'm Christian aligned, but I'm not just, I'm more spiritually based than just Christianity. So although I do believe Jesus was a savior, I don't believe he was the only savior. I believe he was the symbolic alignment of a savior, but I also believe there's other saviors as well, like Buddha. And I believe that I believe that God is everywhere all the time, and that we are also born in Jesus' image. And he even says that in the Bible, right? Anyone like you can do what I can do. So I believe that we are all divine creators like Jesus, but Jesus was definitely like the leader of being connected to God for sure, right? Rach, sorry. I don't know why that was like I think I'm falling out of love with my boyfriend for 3 years. That's great. We should explore that. I would love to explore that with you because you probably feel guilty over it, right? You shouldn't feel guilty. You should be able to love what you want and who you want, and it's okay if you adapt and change. Like I had a coaching business that I thought I would love so much when I started it, and then I started not liking it. So recently I've been asking myself, how can I grow this business in a way that really does feel loving to me? And it's okay for that to change. But before you have that conversation with yourself, you have to drop the shame and the guilt over whatever you're feeling. Okay? I asked how to stop vaping while working at a vape store. Otherwise, they can't quit because of my pay. Oh, you work at a vape store? Well, girl, you don't make that much money. I thought when you said you make too much money, you're making like $400,000 a year, right? What I want to offer to you is if the work you're not doing isn't aligned to who you want to be as a person, then why are you doing it, right? And the belief system you just gave me, which this is a limiting belief, by the way, is I can't find a job that pays me the same or more than working at a vape shop when I know it's not helping my life, right? I chose when I was younger, I would never work in an alcohol shop or anywhere that sold like vaping or whatever, because it just wouldn't align with my life. I know that if I was constantly around alcohol, cigarettes, tobacco, gambling, it would just not make my life the way that I wanted. So just something to think about for you. I'm not trying to guilt or shame you, but vaping's an addiction and it makes your life worse overall. It has to. It's an addiction. Anything that removes your ability to have your own emotional control for yourself or to not be dependent on something external is going to make you weaker. And I don't believe in creating weakness. I believe in full empowerment through your thoughts, beliefs, actions, and your spirituality. Kayla, Halo, I like your name. Guilt. Yes, guilt is an emotion we experience because of what we're thinking, right? So what are you thinking about your life that's making you feel guilty? That's what I would ask. And what you'll see is that a lot of the things we feel guilty about, we can't change. So it's like, if I can't change the thing, and right now I'm feeling guilty about it, then I just have to feel guilty for the rest of my life. Is that going to help you? No, it actually isn't. It's going to ruin the relationship you have with yourself. So the only thing you can change is your thoughts about whatever the thing is that you're feeling guilty about. We have to actually learn how to see things in a way that's more meaningful and less guilty. That's what coaching is about. Nanny, I have problems with committing to things. Everyone in my life says I'm smart, but I can't. Well, you have a belief system issue, right? So what actually is happening is like the things I really want, I probably don't believe that are capable for me. So I commit to things I either don't want, or when I do commit to things I really do want, I give up on them because I stop believing in myself. Makes sense? That's a belief issue. And coaching is a beautiful place to learn how to not do that. If you want, DM me and say, Andrew, your really low ticket community sounds really amazing. I'd love to get more information about it. I'd love to tell, because I'm trying to get people right now in this. I'm creating a community. It's going to be either free or $7 a month. I don't know yet. And I'm teaching my foundational courses in there for anyone that shows up at the community. And then in addition, I'm going to do one coaching call a week. I'm trying to figure out how to make it valuable. But in short, it's going to be a community based on giving you really high quality love coaching tools for a very low price, because I want everyone to have access to what I teach. I think it's important and really good work. So, yeah. Okay, one sec. I am you, vaping sprinting for me. Yeah, so it's not helpful, right? I used to vape in work at the psych hospital. I would hide in the laundry room and vape, right? It wasn't helpful. So vaping, I realized about 4 years in, after lying to myself that it wasn't hurting me, I realized that it was hurting my life and it was hurting the vision I had for myself. So if you want help with that, go check out the Quit Vaping podcast. You're so funny, McCarthy. Feeling better is a big step. Once I started getting it right, vitamins at 100. I think vitamins will help, but also if you're not, you can take all the vitamins you want. If you still have nasty thoughts about yourself, you're believing every day, you're going to feel like crap. So I think that It's not like there's not just one thing to do to feel better, but I think that the biggest thing I found in my experience is the thought work, which is what I teach. How not to feel less than others. Start poking holes at the reasons why you think that you're less than others, right? So many of the times God's follower, I love your questions, by the way. So many of the times we have these horrible beliefs about ourselves that are so damaging, that have no factual basis. Somewhere along the line, we were like 4 years old or we were 5 years old and something happened that made us believe this belief, even though it's not logical. So the work that I help people do is like with our adult brains, right? With our adult brains, not our 5 and 6 year old brains. Let's look at all the beliefs we have about ourselves and question them and start changing them. And you'll find that work is very open to you to do. And once you do that, you're no longer going to feel insignificant or less than other people. It just doesn't make sense, right? But you have to be able to question the beliefs that aren't serving you to get that point. And I think that, I'll be honest with you, I think that a lot of religions miss that point of that skill set, right? Like they give too much credit over to an external power, which I do believe in, but I also believe we have that internal strength within us to do this work. Makes sense? So, yeah, I think that the work that I do is very spiritual. It's like, how can I actually become loving in my body? That's spiritual, right? If you want to talk about the purpose of religion and spirituality, it's to become an unconditionally loving human being. Well, how do you do that? You have to get to the thoughts that aren't true. I think that the nasty thoughts in your head are the devil. I literally believe that. Like, I think that's metaphorically or literally. Like, there's one of my favorite spiritual teachers. Her name is Byron Katie. And she says, what's the thought you're believing right now, or the story you're believing, thought, story, same word, that's pulling you out of heaven? It's a beautiful way to say it, right? So that's how we feel not less than others. And what you'll realize very quickly is once you actually believe you're worthy and whole like everybody else, you show up as the most loving version of yourself for other people as well. I think a lot of people are scared, like, well, what if I believe I'm awesome? I'm going to be arrogant. It's like, no, not at all. You're going to be loving towards other people because you're going to see their own awesomeness within them as well. The reason why I'm able to be so compassionate with other people is because I've done the work of my own beliefs. It's like, I know you're a divine, worthy creator, right? We just have to find out why you don't think that you are and then solve for that. Okay, I'm going to go to, I'm sorry, I don't want to skip any comments. I'm scrolling up really fast. Vitamins do affect our thoughts. I agree. I'm not polarized on that, Clara. You're right. But just, it's a non-polarized world. There's half truths and everything. So I don't know to what extent vitamins affect your thoughts, but I haven't had to change my vitamins to do the thought work personally. So my personal experience is just learning the thought work and how to do it on purpose has been huge. Do you believe in spirits? Yes. I'm having a really hard time staying motivated in college. Why are you going to college if you're not interested in college, right? My question for you, so Reagan, if you're ever having motivation issues, it's because the thoughts that we're thinking about the thing we're trying to do are not motivating. So in other words, if I want to give you a really simple question, are you going to school that you don't actually want to go to? Are you getting a degree you don't care about? Do you understand why you're getting a degree and you full-heartedly believe in that path? Or are you feeling lost and stuck and confused? Right? Because a lot of the times we're trying to motivate ourselves to do things we don't actually want to do because we think we have to. And it's not a motivation issue, obviously. It's like, I don't want to do this and I'm trying to force myself issue, right? If you want help with that, DM me. Let's join my community. I'm building it right now. Tell me what you want to learn about in that community that would help you. And then I'm going to try to bring really high access tools to people for a very low cost. So that even if you're in college right now, you can afford $7 a month to learn about your emotional health and hopefully create a career and a path that really fuels you forward, okay? I'm trying to bring life coaching accessibly to people because I've had so many people who are 18 to 20 who are in college who can't afford a coaching package, who could afford to learn these tools in an affordable way and then maybe do like really affordable coaching, right? How to know someone truly loves you? You can ask them. That's it. And then once you ask them, you use your own inner compass to decide if that felt aligned, their answer. How to know somebody, you can trust someone. You don't until you do, right? You don't know if you can trust someone until you actually extend them. That's why Jesus extended the olive branch, right? There's this old story in the Bible about like, Jesus having I forgot what it was, like, it's a metaphor. One of the stories he told, it's like, you have to extend the olive branch before you'll know how they're going to receive it, right? If they can be trusted, but you have to be the first person to initiate that trust. And you do it with caution. You don't just throw the bank account numbers to them, right? You give them a piece of trust and an amount that if they mess it up, it won't hurt you in your life, right? Not too badly. All right, so I'm on, one sec. HTTP GMC. Okay, I kind of got myself, by the way, thanks for all the comments. I kind of got myself in a situation where someone that really likes me thinks we're dating. That's your problem because you weren't clear on what you wanted and what you didn't want, right? So I'm not saying that you should feel guilty or shameful. That's not my message for you. All I'm saying is that now that you're in this situation, right, you want to say, like, if I was going to draw clear boundaries, how could I do it? This is a beautiful time for you to learn how to be vulnerable with somebody else because you're going to say something that's going to upset them emotionally and you're going to have to be okay with it. Okay? And this is going to teach you how not to people please, right? Right now, the reason you're in this situation is because you cared more about their emotions than your own. And now you're in a situation where you're more emotionally uncomfortable than they are because you put them before you emotionally, which is not a good idea. Most people are people pleasers. It doesn't help you. How to stop feeling drained all the day? I really think managing your thoughts is one of the best ways. If you're like, listen, God, just from talking to you for a minute, God's follower, like if you're not having a good relationship with yourself and you're insecure all the time, all the negative thoughts are draining. Because what happens is you have all these negative thoughts, you believe them, they feel like shit, and then you're pushing them away. And then you're in this constant battle. And then I would imagine that it's manifesting in like overeating, vaping, drinking, things like that. Some kind of substance, I would imagine it typically does. So how do you stop feeling drained? Learn how to think thoughts on purpose that feel better in your body, and those emotions are energizing instead of draining, right? I think that you have a negative emotion problem, which a lot of us do, not a problem, but you can solve for it by learning how to manage your thoughts and your emotions. I think you'd be great for the community I have. I mean, and everything you're talking about, you'd be great. How do I be more productive? Okay, productivity is an effect of your emotions, right? So if I want to be more productive, I have to feel aligned energy in order to take the action. So I guess the best way to get more productive, instead of having highs and lows, is having a compelling vision that's a long-term strategy, right? So what is it that I'm being productive for? What is the vision I have for my life that I'd be willing to show up for every day for the next 10 years in order to achieve it, right? A lot of people have productivity issues because they don't have a clear vision of why they're being productive. So they force themselves with willpower to be productive, and then once the willpower is gone, they don't have any reason to keep going because all that's left is negative emotions. So you have to have a strong vision, okay? So I would write out like whatever you want to be productive to do. So you have to have a strong vision, okay? So I would write out like whatever you want to be productive to do. I got an email and I clicked on an accent. Whatever it is you want to be productive to do, write out the reason you want to be productive. Put yourself in the vision. If you actually achieve that thing, what's it going to be like? Okay? Davey, and if you need help with that, I'm going to put this up again. DM me and be like, hey, that sounds interesting. I want to learn more. Like, and I'll give you an invite for my community in a week, and then people can join and we'll start going, okay? All right, I'm on tips. One sec. Okay. I'm gonna go fast so that I can get all these comments and catch up. Okay. Hoy Zeros. I smoke. I want to quit, but I'm scared. You're scared of the emotions that will be there when you're not smoking. That's the problem, right? What you're actually scared of, it's the emotional problem. So understand that, and then I would recommend going to my podcast, the Quit Vaping Podcast. It's gonna help you tremendously. Tips on how I can become a life coach. Yes, get in my community. I would say learn the tools first. Apply them is the best first step. Because if you want to be a life coach, you have to actually first embody the work so that you can then teach it. You cannot teach what you have not embodied. Not really. Not be effective, at least. Okay, so if you're interested, DM me, Cat Casino, and tell me about it, and we'll talk, and we'll get in a DM conversation, and then I'll try to create tools that will help you feel stronger to become a life coach too. And we'll talk about it. Quit vaping and smoking, go to my bio. I have a resource for you. It's called Escape the Vape, or you can just Google search the Quit Vaping Podcast. Good morning, hope all is well. Yes, hope everyone's good morning. Thank you, we are. Yes, thanks for the follows, guys. Thank you for the follows, everyone. I appreciate it. Chloe, Peoples, Casino, appreciate that. Gibbs, this girl says she's not ready for a serious after us, aiming for that. What do I do? Get very clear on what you want and then tell them. And then set boundaries. Like, here's how I'd say it. This is exactly how I do it. Figure out what you want, right? So, for example, hey, I want to be in a romantic relationship with you. That's my goal. That's what I want. And I'm offering that to you. And if you don't want that, that's okay. But if you also are going to hold me on the edge, then it isn't a good fit and I need to walk away. And you're allowed to be whoever you want as a person because that's who you are. But I've set boundaries for myself and I'm going to honor them. Because this isn't about her. It's about the relationship you're building with yourself. Okay? God's follower. The guy has approached me are all show their friends. One sec. The guys that have approached me are all to show their friends, not because of a good reason. I'm confused by that, God's follower. I'm sorry. Will you give me more information? How to quit vaping. Go to my bio. There's a Escape the Vape link. Read through it. Okay? A sin of wrath. What's the best way to quit vaping? Yes. So 2 options. Escape the Vape program in the bio. Go check it out. Or just type in the Quit Vaping Podcast. Either one's good. Okay? How to get over my girlfriend? 2 things. One is like, let yourself feel the emotions that happens naturally. I think a lot of times we get stuck in emotions because we don't want to process them. So you might have a processing emotion issue, not a stuck to your girlfriend issue. So let yourself feel the crap. I think I just drank like the milk thing, where you have milk in your coffee and it's like it's gross. And then number 2 is like, make sure you're not believing anything about that relationship that makes you stuck, right? If you believe thoughts like, we shouldn't have broke up, I'm never going to find love again, I'm not as good as she is, I'm not worthy enough, like all those thoughts are going to keep you stuck forever in that cycle of emotions. How could I stop being so mad and angry and hurt at the people I love and I don't mean to? Do your inner work on yourself. right? Don't even focus on them. Focus on the reason you're feeling hurt and angry all the time, right? Let yourself sit in those emotions and ask yourself, where are they coming from? Why am I feeling them, right? That's exactly right. It doesn't have to be more difficult than that. It's not complicated, it's uncomfortable. So like, what I do if I were you, Paulina, is like, well, you can always join my group because we'll do this work and I'll teach you how, but also you can just start today. Write down all the reasons you're feeling all the emotions and let yourself journal on it. And you're going to see a lot. You're going to learn a lot about you in that exercise. Gibbs, I wouldn't let go or wait. I would set a clear expectation of what you want and then let them decide. That puts the power back in your hands, which is going to make you feel a lot better. It's leading you on, gag. She leading you on, oh, here she does. I mean, you're also leading her on, right? Because you're the one willing to wait without expressing what you want. So you guys are both leading each other on. You're both just as guilty. That's why it only takes one person to decide what they want and to make an offer, right? Thanks for the follows, Janessa and Brady. I need a Big Mac. Feel like you should be straightforward with her. And oh, you guys are doing relationship coaching. What is it? What's up, Sydney? Nice to see you. What does it mean when you keep going back to an unhealthy relationship? That you don't think you can find anything better. That there's a part of you that believes you're not worthy enough to find a better one. That's exactly what it means. Every single time without exception. If I'm going back to something, there's a part of me that thinks that either I want that or that's all I deserve. It has to be true, okay? How to stop fapping? Figure out what emotionally is happening in your body when you're not doing that all the time. And what you're going to find is a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of loneliness, a lot of unworthiness. And instead of fapping, you can deal with those emotions. And then you'll have control over the emotions and you'll see that it was never about fapping to begin with. What's up, Rafi? Do you think people should take their ex back after they left? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because this is my belief system. Is like, I choose to believe that I'm going to date someone who really loves me and who's willing to love me and to do the uncomfortable things it takes to have a relationship. So if we decide it's not going to work out, I'm not going to go back to that relationship because I believe that the person I want to be with, that I'm destined to be with, wants to be with me, doesn't kind of want to be with me and they're scared to commit, or they kind of want to be with me and they're trying to find something better. Like, no. The most worthy version of myself doesn't take exes back, right? That's the most basic way I can say it. So, yeah. Quit vaping. I'm still struggling and feeling deprived. I feel physically better though. The reason you're feeling deprived is because your emotions. You're feeling deprived when you have an uncomfortable emotion come up and you don't have anything to avoid it, right? So instead of feeling deprived, you're feeling uncomfortable, right? So what are the emotions you're feeling, Haley? Start paying attention to them. And what you're going to see very quickly is that you just have emotions that you've never learned how to process. And they're manifesting as feeling deprived, but really it's just feeling uncomfortable. Quit Zen. Yes, go to my bio. Are you really addicted to Zens? I'm surprised by that because a lot of people tell me, oh, I can quit Zens whenever I want. My brother's one of them. My other brother, Jimmy's like, oh, I can quit Zens whenever I want. He literally bought like a jacket last week from the Zen store or whatever, like a shirt. So how many Zens do you have to buy to convince yourself that you can quit when you're literally wearing a Zen t-shirt? But yeah, go to my bio. I have a course for you that's going to help you understand nicotine addiction. I don't believe in break your space is gateway. Yeah, I think that it's hard. It's hard to speak in a non-polarized, like I try to make everything non-polarized in my speech, right? I don't think that there are any absolutes. I think that there can be truth in everything, right? So I don't think there's never a time for a space or a break. Like I take spaces and breaks for my business sometimes. But you just want to check the reason that you're having that space or break and like the reason, right? In your individual situation. What are your top 3 books on self-development? Great question. You Are Badass by Jen Sincero. Write them down. Self-Coaching 101 by Brooke Castillo. And Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life by Wayne Dyer. Absolutely sick. I never call out of work. I feel guilty. That's a relationship with yourself issue, Jen. You should love yourself so much that you value yourself enough to not force yourself into situations you don't want to be in because you feel guilty for other people, right? I used to be a people pleaser like that too. And now it's like, nope, even I own a business and sometimes I don't feel good. And it's like, I'll just text a client like, hey, I'm not going to meet today. I don't feel good. It's not aligned for me to meet because it would be doing myself and you a disservice. Because if you show up for work sick, then you're doing everyone a disservice. And if you don't show up for work sick, then you get to love yourself for making the decision to heal. And then also everyone else can be grateful that you didn't show up. So there's no reason for guilt, right? But it just, to me, it indicates a relationship with yourself that needs work. And you should be able to love yourself enough to feel no guilt over doing what's right for you. Shadow work is the scariest work you can do. I think I think that not doing shadow work is the scariest work you can do. I really believe that because if I don't do the shadow work, I'm going to be left to alcohol and addiction to deal with my emotions. That to me is way scarier. I've been down that path. That sucked way more than just like dealing with my emotions and realizing that I don't love myself that much. All right. I didn't mean to skip comments, but it jumped. Okay. I'm on God's follower again. Yes. You say I have negative emotions, so how can I get rid of them? That's it. You don't want to get rid of them. God's follower. If you're serious, like, join my shit. You've been on here a while. You're going to want to join my community because I'm going to teach you how to deal with your emotions. And sometimes the best way to deal with your emotions is not by escaping them. It's by diving into them and exploring them, right? That's the path. And if you look like that's the spiritual path, right? Learning who you really are, the good and the bad. It's important. And I mean, always, this really is a spiritual truism. The best way out is always through, right? Sometimes we have to go through the desert for 40 years to learn what we need to learn from those emotions, that unpleasant experience. And that's all over the Bible, that symbolism, right? Gibbs, I'm knowing, but she was a sweet girl, never gave out those vibes to me. You never know that. I don't think that you should think she's abusing you or doing anything on purpose. That's why, Gibbs, I think the best thing for you to do is, like, don't make it a problem that she hasn't committed. You're the one that hasn't committed either. Because you're letting somebody else lead you on just like you're leading them on. So make a decision what you want with love for yourself, and then make that offer for that person. And don't take it personally, whatever they say. The most loving thing. If you want help quitting vaping, go to the Quit Vaping podcast. Eva, I gotta love myself and stop overeating. Overeating is an underfeeling problem. The reason you're overeating is because you don't want to be with yourself when you're alone. Because it's scary to be with ourselves when we're alone, but we can deal with that. It's more scary for me to be overweight. I used to be morbidly obese. I'll tell you right the fuck now that me being overweight was a way scarier reality than me being able to be like, yeah, I'm anxious. Let's talk about it. Okay. If you want help with that, I'm starting a community. It's going to be giving really high access life coaching tools just like these to people for really affordable prices. So if you're interested in that, that sounds good. I'm trying to start a mission. It's a purpose-based mission that's coming from God. And I sincerely believe that if I am giving away so much valuable stuff for ridiculous value, that God will take care of me as well. So I've been trying to build my business for the last couple of years, and I think I got lost in the coaching space with all the high ticket offers and all that bullshit. And what I actually want is to help people, and I want to help a lot of them, and I want to do it for a price that makes sense for everyone. That's a win-win. And I believe that's a spiritual path. So if you're serious and what I'm saying makes sense to you and it's helpful, feel free to DM me. Let me know what you want out of that community. Right now I'm creating 2 foundational courses that are going to teach you the basics I think everybody should know. And then every month I'm going to be adding on a course. I'm also going to be very active in that community, doing chatting. Like, it's going to be amazing. Okay. Anyways. You're welcome, Jen. All right, guys, I'm so sorry if I skipped some comments that jumped and I kind of got lost where I was. Yeah, Ginger Snap, it's okay that you're hateful. You don't have to be hateful to me, though. If you want to blame me for your hate, that's okay, too. But this isn't a hateful life today. Yeah, Sydney, the reason you're going back to unhealthy relationships is because you don't believe you can find anything better, or you don't believe you deserve anything better. I know that that's probably not even a conscious belief, but that's the truth of your subconscious beliefs about yourself. I'm sorry, it just has to be true. Okay? Jen, quit alcohol is easy, quitting it is hard. Yeah, it's... Go to the link in the bio, Jen. Go to my Escape the Vape course, read through the sales page, or you can just go to the podcast for free. And the sales page is free, the course isn't, but either way, just go check it out. I had a crush on my best... Yeah, I think you should let them know. I think that you should let your ex or your friend know that you have a crush on them, not even for them, but for you. I think it validates your experience, and it's a loving thing to do for yourself. If I have emotions towards someone, I think it's, and I've sat with them, and I like the emotions I have, it makes sense to me why I'm having those emotions, right? They're not coming from thoughts that I hate. Then it's the most loving thing to do is to validate that experience by letting them know how you're feeling. Again, not to win them over, just so that you can win yourself over. You can say, I love Chris so much that I am willing to be uncomfortable to speak my truth. In the relationship you build with yourself, doing stuff like that over and over again, it's amazing. It's the best gift you can give yourself. Okay. Thanks for the follow, Eva. All right, guys. I've had it. Yes. So I'm on Manu. I'm trying to get to the bottom. Sorry about that, guys. Manu, how do I get things done even though I got no motivation? Motivation is an internal job. I think right now you're thinking of motivation as something that you have no control over, but you do. So what I want to offer to you is motivation it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing, okay? You think it's one thing, but it's actually something else. Motivation is not the problem. Motivation is never the problem. What creates your motivation? Your thoughts and your beliefs. So although right now you think you have a motivation issue, what I can see is that it's actually that whatever I think I should be motivated to do, I don't believe in, or I don't have positive thoughts toward. So for example, let's say you want to go to college and you're like, well, I'm just not motivated to school. It's like, well, what's the reasons you're going to college? Well, my mom thinks I should and I'm lost. Well, that's why you're not motivated to show up and do the hard things, because you don't believe that what you're doing is going to be worth it, right? Let's look at another example. It's like, I'm motivated to lose 30 pounds and I actually show up every day and do it, even though it's uncomfortable. Why? Because I believe sincerely my life will be better on the other end of that 30 pounds. Do you see what I mean? It's never a motivation issue. It's always a thought belief system issue. Motivation is a symptom of the thoughts and the beliefs, okay? Lazy Pause Club. So if you guys also, if this sounds good to you and you want to join my community, I'm going to teach you my basic information and courses for free. I'm going to add on to it every month. So you're going to get an entire life coaching education for a ridiculous price. And if that sounds good to you guys, I'm going to keep offering it because I want to get a bunch of people's, I want people to tell me what you're thinking. You could DM me and say, hey, this is what I want help with, blah, 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 whatever. But yeah. All right, lazy pause. Somebody asked me to lie recently, and I told them it wasn't comfortable with that. Proud of myself. Awesome. And see how much better you feel about yourself because you did that. You stood up for what you wanted. That's how we build a better relationship with ourselves. That's how in a year from now, once we listened to our heart and spoke our truth, a year from now, we actually love ourselves. We don't have nasty thoughts about ourselves anymore as much. Okay? That's how it works. By the way, for you, God's follower, that's how it works, right? You have insecurity. It's like, well, we need to figure out what's true to us and start doing that, even if it's uncomfortable for other people. Ralphie, do you think avoidance should be in a relationship? I think you shouldn't label yourself as avoidant ever. I think the problem with a lot of the clinical world is that they label people, and once you label yourself, you become that label. It just has to happen because your thoughts create your results. So if I think that I'm avoidant and I feel bad about myself because of it, I will have to end up showing up avoidant in a relationship to prove my concept of myself. Okay? So I don't think you should label yourself as avoidant. What I want to offer is that you probably have some emotional stuff you need to do behind the scenes. If you're showing up avoidant in a relationship, it's probably because you had some experiences as a kid where you tried to show your truth and you were like, you have an idea that you were in danger or that somebody wasn't listening. There's something happened there that made you show up in a way that's avoidant, right? It's like, I don't feel safe to actually be seen because I have all these experiences where it wasn't. So we need to work through that, right? Coaching's beautiful for that. If you want to join Ralphie, you can always DM me and be like, hey, that sounds great. You should help me with this or what. Just let me know if you're interested in the community. I'm going to start and I'd love to have you. Who is this guy? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out. He ain't even got GT. Lauren, hi. All right, let's talk. Why can't I let go of a friendship that's been over almost 5 years? Because of what you're thinking about it. That's exactly why. If I'm stuck on something for that amount of time, it's probably no longer grief. It's probably thoughts and stories I'm believing that are keeping me stuck in the past, right? So for example, I had a relationship with a Spanish guy and he was so hot and it was such a nice relationship. And after I moved back from Spain to America because my visa was up, I literally perpetually was stuck in this relationship for 5 years in my mind. And the reason was because I was believing all these things about him. I'm never going to find anyone better. He was more worthy than I was. He had his shit together. He was like more important than I was. Like I had all these beliefs about him that made me feel stuck. Like I was never going to be able to overcome that. And I had to go back to Spain to be with him because I wasn't worthy of something better. So that's what's probably happening. I don't know what the exact thoughts are in your mind, but they have to be there or else you wouldn't still be stuck emotionally with this person. How do I deal with feelings ugly and feeling like everyone around you is so much better looking? Question your beliefs is what I would say, because realistically, I know that this isn't going to help you feel better, but beauty is subjective. And you'll know this because there's different cultures with different standards, right? Look online anywhere, you can see that beauty is relatively subjective. I know that the world's becoming more one, but like back in the day, being overweight in certain cultures was beautiful, right? So before you start to have a better relationship with yourself, you have to be able to question the thoughts you're believing that aren't serving you. That's the foundational skill set that I teach people, okay? So it's like the reason you think you're ugly right now is a whole bunch of thoughts, and your thoughts are not necessarily facts. In fact, none of your thoughts are factual. They're thoughts. They're just beliefs or stories we have, right? There are facts in life, and we interpret those facts with our thoughts. So right now, if you just believe you're ugly, it's like, well, before you just go off believing that and it hurts you and creates a life you don't want, let's look at all the reasons you believe that. What are the actual hardcore facts you have that make you want to believe that you're ugly, okay? And you're going to see that all of it's subjective. Well, my nose is this shape. It's like, well, that doesn't mean you're ugly. That's not a fact. Your nose being this shape is a fact. What about that makes it ugly? Well, somebody said that one time. Okay, so somebody told you ugly. That's a fact. But why are you choosing to believe their opinion over yours, right? There's a whole bunch of things we can do with that. But right now, I think the main skill set you need to learn is how to question your own thinking. And that's a spiritual skill set, by the way. I quit Sins Like Nothing, but I went back to after a couple months. They're too good. Okay, so there's somewhere in you that wants them over not wanting them. And that's okay. So not a problem. Zins themselves aren't a problem. They're poison, but there's a lot of poisons that people ingest that I don't think that this poison itself is a problem. We just want to like the reason that we're using it. Why do I even, after I do all those self-care things, I still feel this way? Because you're not actually dealing with this. You can do all the self-care you want. If you're not understanding the core beliefs you have about yourself that are negative, you're never going to feel better. So like, yeah, affirmations, positive work is good. It's important. But if you're missing going into the negative work and doing the quote unquote shadow work, understanding why I believe all the horrible things about myself that I do, then you're never going to feel better. Because imagine you have this belief systems, right? All these nasty beliefs and your cup's completely full. So it's like, I'm trying to get a massage. Well, I'm just trying to force positive on top of a full cup. It's not going to work. It won't stick. I have to empty the cup first. And the way that we empty the cup is we get really intentional about what we're thinking and start being aware of our belief systems towards ourselves. Just like I was giving advice to the last person, that's the first step. That's why you should join my community, because the intentional about what we're thinking and start being aware of our belief systems towards ourselves. Just like I was giving advice to the last person, that's the first step. That's why you should join my community, because the first course I'm going to teach to do that work on yourself so that you understand it, and then we can start applying it in the community, okay? So if you want help with that, I'm being dead ass serious, please, like, DM me and be like, hey, Andrew, what you're saying sounds interesting. By the way, my community is going to be either free or $7 a month. It's a very low ticket offer because I really do want to bring these tools to everyone, and I'm trying to find a way to do it, okay? So, Ashley Jane, girl, you son of a bitch. How you been, girl? You have not responded to my messages in like a month. And I know that you're so busy, and I'm absolutely not offended by it whatsoever, and I love you dearly, but it's so good to see your face. Sorry, I had to say that. All right, so I'm so sorry if I skipped some comments. I don't normally do that, but I got totally distracted. I'm on Rafi, avoidant. I dated one. Yes, I'm avoidant. Okay, but even if you want to label yourself that way, the reason you're being avoidant is because of emotions, and you need to do the self-work on experiencing your emotions, your thoughts about yourself. If you want help with that, jump into my community. Let me teach you these tools. Let's go. All right, but at least DM me, Rafi, and be like, hey, it sounds interesting. I want more information. Whatever you need, I'll be there for you. I'll reach out to you and try to build a relationship where you feel valued and heard, okay? I'm doing all of that, but still vaping. Then you're not doing all of it. If you think that you're feeling your emotions, but you feel out of control to a substance, then you're not feeling your emotions. The presence of you having a problem with a substance, the proof of that is proof for me that you have an emotional problem you're not dealing with. Always, ever, can't avoid it, because your emotions are always guiding your actions. If you didn't have emotions that were there that you didn't want to deal with, then you wouldn't be taking the action always. And yes, there's a chemical side to vaping, but that's like just a little piece of the problem, right? The substance itself is never actually the problem. It's a symptom. That's how I like to see it. Advice on executive dysfunction. Say more about it, because I think that that's a psych word I've heard a lot about, and I don't actually, if you asked me to define that, I wouldn't be able to define it, so I don't want to speak on it yet. Define it for me, and then I'll tell you, I'll help you, okay? And I'm not trying to like put you in a corner and like, you don't know the definition. I don't know the definition, so let me know and I'll try to help you, okay? What's the way I can simplify my life? Just stop believing the thoughts that make you feel so shitty all the time. It really is. Like, if you look at any spiritual teacher, like, just stop believing the thoughts. And that's a hard thing to do. I'll admit, like, it's a simple solution, but it's a difficult thing to do. But that's the way to simplify your life. Buff, I've been listening to the Quit Vaping podcast. Yay! Woo, 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 woo. I'm so happy to hear it. Good. Yes, thoughts drive, emotions drive it. I'm so happy to hear that. Good. And Buff, I want you to know, I'm starting a community. It'll be either free or $7. I'm going to teach all my basic tools in there, and every month I'm going to release a new course. So I want you there. I want people in that want to learn the shit. Obviously, you're interested in learning the material. So if you're interested, please DM me and be like, Andrew, it sounds like a good idea. I would love to join your community. And just let me know, because I'm trying to find 100 people right now that want to join while I build out this community. And then I want to hit the ground running and get everyone in. So there's a community that love each other, that we're learning this stuff and embody it. And I don't care what your problem is. We're going to apply these tools to it. It doesn't matter. You're going to see that your thoughts are the most important thing to get a hold over. And I'm going to show you over and over again that we can apply it to anything, and it'll help your life. Okay. How do you stop intrusive thoughts? That's not the right question. It's how do I stop believing them? Right? I have intrusive thoughts every day. I almost thought about walking in traffic last night. I'm not even saying that as a joke. I meant genuinely. I looked at the car. I'm like, what it would be like if I just walked in front of that fucking truck? You know what I mean? I have intrusive thoughts all the time. Like I took my dog potty this morning. He didn't want to go. And I'm like, oh, I want to kick him. Right? Like, that's a horrible thought. I didn't kick him. But like, it's just, so it's not that you stop intrusive thoughts. It's that you stop believing them, and you just make space for them to just come up sometimes without making an issue. Because what you resist persists. So if I have a thought in my mind, it's like, oh, I shouldn't think about not kicking my dog. There's one of the most famous experiences in psychology. It's very simple. It's the pink elephant experiment. And the whole point is, researchers have all these people in a room, and they say, for 1 minute, you're allowed to think about anything you want except for a pink elephant. Think about anything you want. Just don't think about a pink elephant. You have 1 minute, go. What do people think of? The pink elephant. And that's just it's a spiritual concept that what we resist persists. So in a very Taoist, real perspective of spirituality and real psychology, that the moment you stop resisting and pushing up against life, and you just let things happen, the good and the bad, without making it an issue, that's when a lot less bad happens in your life. It's the paradox of negative emotion. When I try to push against I have goosebumps, because this really is like a spiritual concept. When I push against the thoughts and the emotions that are not positive, I end up perpetuating them and creating way more. Okay. So don't stop intrusive thoughts. Let them be there. Just don't believe them. Don't act on them. That's it, right? And don't make yourself feel shameful or bad as a person for having them, because you're not, right? It's like, imagine if you felt like sadness. You're not going to make yourself feel bad for feeling sad. Well, a lot of us do, but it's a completely normal emotion, right? What's my education background on this? 3 coaching certifications, a 4-year in psych, experience working in a psych hospital, 26 different jobs, living in Spain for years. So like that's my life experience. But really the technical training I've had in mental health, other than the myriad of books I've read on all mental health, spirituality, all these things, and the application in my life and the coaching programs I bought, purchased, and embodied, is the 4-year in psych, 3 coaching certifications. Okay. How many times should I hang out with a guy before making it official? I want you to decide that. Here's what I want you to say. If you have a desire in your heart to make it official, you fucking honor that for yourself. And even if they're not ready to receive that, the relationship you build with yourself, saying this is what I want, and I'm willing to be, I'm brave enough to say this out loud, even though it's uncomfortable, that's the gold. The gold isn't dating the person. It's that you're willing to say that that's what you want. And if you're willing to say what you want, you're probably going to get it more often than not, right? Most of us just aren't willing to say what we want because we're scared that we might not get it. And it's actually in that line of thinking that we don't get what we want. We guarantee the result we don't want when we're scared to go after it, okay? You need to add, eliminate procrastination. Eliminate, not just, well, I can't because if I do that, eliminate. You're right, it's not on there. Okay, usually I have procrastination on my list. Okay, I get you. I thought you were saying add the word eliminate, but I thought it was already on my list. Okay, yeah. I used to have it on there. Procrastination, Toasty Avo, it's an emotional problem, all right? Procrastination is a symptom of the thoughts we're thinking and the emotions those thoughts are creating, always. So if let's say, for example, for me, very real example, I want to lose weight, right? This is what I've been saying all year long. I want to lose the last 10 pounds, right? But I'm not doing it, right? Why? Because deep down, I'm like, do I really want it? If I actually am really honest with myself, do I really want to do what it takes to lose that last 10 pounds? Right? So what I'll see very quickly is that if I actually ask good questions, is it's not a procrastination issue. It's actually that what I think I want, I don't actually want because of all the emotions I think I have to dive into to experience it and get that. So that's the problem. Okay? Make sense? It's always true. That's never not true. I promise you. That's never not true. Okay? Also, I'm going to put this up. If you guys are interested in joining my community, it will either be free or $7. I'm asking God. I'm trying to get all spiritual on it and genuinely build the community from a place of spirituality. I'm going to teach you foundational tools that I will teach all my clients for either free or $7 a month. Not sure yet, okay? I'm trying to make sure that I get fed and you get fed, right? And I'm going to add a new course every month. In addition, I'm going to have a very active community of people trying to learn and embody this work so you can create all these results. And I'm also going to offer very low ticket coaching in that community. I'm trying to figure out how to do it so that life coaching becomes better than therapy, which is a crazy thing to do, but I want that to be an example of what's possible because I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on coaching over the last couple of years, and I understand that that's just not going to happen for most people. And I also in a lot of debt because of it. And I don't think that's right. So here we are. So if you're interested, what I'm saying makes sense, and you want high quality life coaching tools for cheap, not low quality, low cost, high value, let me know, okay? DM me, create a relationship with me. I want to create a relationship with you. I want you in my community. I want to know who you are and why you're there so I can help you. And I want you to get way more value than you ever pay, okay? But it's just something I'm playing with right now, and I don't know. It's probably going to come out in the next week or so if that's what I decide to do. I'm really meditating a lot on it and trying to find the answers from God. All right, Nolan, numbers. Love that name. What if I don't have goals? And I'm sorry if I skipped your comments, by the way, guys. I just get kind of lost sometimes. So I'm a Nolan. What if I don't have goals and I want to be a piece of shit for life? There's no problem. But then here's the thing. You're allowed to not have goals and also simultaneously not think of yourself as a piece of shit, right? The whole idea that we need to achieve and act and all this stuff, that's kind of like a Western idea, right? Like the most spiritual people would say that you just being makes you perfectly whole and worthy, right? Although that's kind of hard to live that way in modern society, it's possible. And like, there's no problem with that. Do you think that dogs and cats and deer and lions and goats are pieces of shit because they don't have a house? You know what I mean? They're just living their life. They're feeding themselves and they're just doing what they do, right? So just kind of an interesting thing to think about, right, Nolan? Like, don't make yourself feel guilty for not having goals to go after the giant life of the rich entrepreneur. Like, that doesn't make you a piece of shit. It makes you a piece of shit if you aren't happy with that, right? And you're genuinely unrest because you do want that. But it doesn't make you a piece of shit if you don't want that and you're just not going after it. What's the problem? Your desires or lack thereof have been given to you by God. So if you don't want to do anything that like people think you should do, then don't make yourself feel bad about it. But still find a way to make yourself be able to support yourself at least, whether that's moving to like India and living in a monk temple and not having to work, or going and living in like the desert plains of Arizona and feeding yourself and learning how to hunt, like whatever it is. You know, I think that as all adults and perfect worthy pieces of creation, we should at least find a way to support ourselves in some way. And maybe the best way we can support ourselves is living with our parents and helping out around the house and with love, you know? There's no wrong way to do it, but don't make yourself feel guilty for who you are. Please. I've done a lot of that my whole life and I'm over it. All right. Lazy Paws. Thanks for being here still, Lazy Paws. I'm so anxious about health issues with my animals. Yes, so, you know, in the Bible, and I'm not trying to reference this as a spiritual problem or a religious problem, I should say, but I think that it's good to reference a common known text, even though it's not the only place to get this truth. The Bible literally says that worrying is a sin. And what that means is there's no upside to worrying. It's just like, it just creates negative in your life. And I think that whenever we do something that just creates negative just for the sake of creating negative, it's a sin. It's missing the mark, is like what a sin is, right? It literally means to miss the mark. So my logo, by the way, is this with an arrow in the middle. It's like to hit the mark, which is like unconditional love. It's a cool logo. I'm my life coaching stuff. Okay. So, there's no reason to worry. And what you're going to find is that whatever you're worrying about in the moment, you're creating for yourself. So if I'm worried that my animals are going to get sick, because I'm worrying in the moment, I'm creating sickness for myself. Worry is a toxic emotion for your body. So just be mindful of that. I'm not saying it's bad to have anxiety. I'm saying it's not the best use of your time to have it for no reason that's positive. Sometimes the best thing we can experience is anxiety. It's like, I'm going to go up on the stage and anxiety is going to put me into a fight or flight situation a little bit where I'll be more alert. Maybe that's the best emotion to experience in that situation. But when I'm just sitting here ruminating about my animals dying, like, that's not helpful, right? It's just hurting you for no reason, okay? Can you talk about drinking less alcohol? Yeah, actually, I'll tell you this right now, is that I have not been, I've been drinking my whole life, pretty much, since I was 16 years old. I've been drinking alcohol pretty regularly, right? And I've had bouts where I go off for 4 months or so. But recently I decided I'm going to stop drinking alcohol. And I think I'm pretty serious about this decision because I found out that alcohol, the word spirit, actually means, like, the reason they call it spirit is because when you drink alcohol, it like lowers your vibration spiritually. And I believe that, right? Everybody who's drank alcohol, you're like you're physically lower, right? So I heard this podcast where people are talking about like how alcohol literally makes you more susceptible to lower vibrations come in, quote unquote demons, things like that. And you don't have to believe in that, by the way. You don't have to believe demons are getting in your body, but it kind of removes some of your life essence. And anybody who drinks alcohol would agree, right? Regardless of if you're spiritual or not, your life essence is drained when you're drinking. It just is, right? So that's why I've recently decided to probably stop drinking, because I'm like, holy crap, I don't want that. I don't want a lower life essence. Like, my whole point as life coach is to get into as high of a vibe as possible and to work and to live through that emotion because it feels so good. So why would I intentionally lower myself with poison? And again, I'm 29. It's taken me a long time to get to the place where I'm ready to receive that information or even think about it. So that's just the reason that I'm trying to help. He's not a life coach. He's just scanning as fox pasture. Anyways, the closet is glass. What's going on with you, Harley? Why are you so angry at me? It's all good, girl. But I'm just curious what you're going on for. Yeah, it's all good. I didn't expect that comment right now from what I'm talking about. Okay. Let's do second Ari. I don't know what that means. Oh, what Ari said. Can you talk about drinking less? Yes. Yeah. You have to have a reason to, is what I'm saying. I mean, it's the basic information. Is whatever you want to stop doing, you have to have a better reason to not do it than do it. It's that simple. And obviously there's emotions in there, there's belief systems there, but the basic understanding of, like, if I want to change a behavior, I have to care more about the absence of that behavior than the behavior itself. So if I want to drink less, I have to have a valid reason. I have to actually believe that if I drink less alcohol, my life will be better. If I don't believe that, I'm going to be in willpower, right? The way that I help people quit vaping is by showing them, like, your life might actually be better without an addiction. What if we could consider that, right? I don't tell them they're wrong, they're not bad, they're not shameful, you shouldn't feel bad about your habits or your actions. I should just make sure I like the reasons I'm doing it. And a lot of people don't like the reasons that they're vaping once they actually understand what they actually believe about it. Same with alcohol, right? So if we're able to just look into the reasons why we're doing something without shame, we're able to overcome the reasons and change them. But so many people, they're so shameful about who they are as people and what they want, what they're doing, that we can't even do the inner work it takes to change those actions. There's another spiritual concept. I love this one. There's this idea that it's a paradox, right? Before I can change, I have to accept myself. That's the paradox, is that you don't want to accept yourself because you think that by shaming yourself, you're going to change, but that's not true. It's accepting yourself exactly how you are, drinking, vaping, whatever, that I create the loving grounds to do the work of change. But I cannot, my quote of the day from yesterday, right? Shame's always optional, it never helps, okay? Shame always creates more of the thing you don't want, okay? So that's what I have to say about drinking and vaping. How can I overcome my fear of driving? I don't think that that's the right way of looking at it. I think that fear is okay. Instead of trying to overcome your fear, how about you get more comfortable in fear? Another psychological truism, right? And this isn't spiritual, but it's psychological, but I think it is spiritual in its core. I think a lot of the truisms in psych are spiritual concepts. The goal of life is not to become less afraid. And this is a really good one. I learned this from Jordan Peterson. He's amazing. The goal of life is to become more courageous. The number one way to help people with phobias right now in the clinical psychology world is exposure therapy. And what you're doing is you're not making the person less scared. You're making them more courageous, right? So the way that if you think of everything on an opposite pole, right? Good, bad, light, dark, everything like that. The way that we create less of the one pole, the fear, is by increasing the other pole. Let's look at this from a very logical example, right? Light, right? How does light work, right? If I want to make a room more light, I add more light. If I want to make a room less I'm thinking, how do I explain this? You don't have to incorporate darkness for the room. I don't know how to explain it. It's such a good one too. The absence of one pole is the presence of the other one, right? So if you want to become less scared, you don't try to become less scared, you become more courageous. You pull from one pole to the other, right? So you don't try to do anything with fear if you're scared. You look at the opposite and then you increase it or you decrease it. Same thing with, I think what I'm trying to say with light is like, if you want a room to be more light, you don't just like bring in less darkness, you bring in more light. If you want to bring, a room to be, that's it. That's what I was trying to get through, right? Does that make sense to you guys? Thank you. Thanks for going on that journey with me. My brain just like, right? I'm like, oh, I'm back now. Also, I'm going to invite you guys. If you guys like what I'm saying and it makes sense to you, consider joining my community. I'm going to teach high quality life coaching tools for a low quality price, for a very low price, high value, low cost, in good faith that if I do that, my business will grow the way that I want it to. Okay. So if this makes sense, that makes sense. Thanks, Lauren. I appreciate that. Thanks for throwing me a bone here. Can you throw me a bone? All right. How do you quit vaping if you've done it for a while? Well, I vaped for 7 years. I was able to quit. How do you quit anything if you've done it for a while? You deal with the actual problem, right? Vaping is not the problem. It's the symptom. Okay. If I think that nicotine itself is a problem, I can never solve, right? Just like if I think that overeating is a problem, I can never actually solve the real problem. It's on my emotions, right? So if I want to quit vaping, I have to understand the thoughts and the emotions that led me to this habit, this addiction really, but it's an addiction. Okay. So nicotine is a small piece of the problem because it's addictive, but nicotine is not the reason you started vaping, right? So somewhere along the line, you had bad thoughts, bad emotions, I should say not bad or bad, but unhelpful thoughts that create results you don't want, uncomfortable emotions. And the way that I learned how to respond to those thoughts and emotions, I started vaping. And now that I'm in it, it doesn't feel like that's the problem because I'm like, all I can see is the vape itself. But if I zoom out, it's like, why am I vaping, right? What do I think about nicotine? What do I believe about it? What do I believe about it in my life, right? You're identifying with somebody who vapes. You're identifying as somebody who can't quit vaping. That's why you can't quit. So the way that we quit vaping is by getting to the real problem. And that's for any problem. That's why it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter what I'm talking about in this live. The same foundational tools will always be manage your thoughts and your emotions. And that's why in my community I'm building, the first thing you learn is called the foundation. It's all about thought and emotional work. So you can understand that basic skill set, and then every single month I'm going to add on to that with a new course, no matter what this problem is. So that eventually we're going to have a whole stockpile of courses that all build off this fundamental work. Okay, very cool. So I'd love to have you. If you guys are interested in the community, I'm going to give you my little, I can't do the lead thing for another, but I'm going to let you know the community is building and I'd love to have you. And if you're not sure if you want to be in it, again, it's going to be so cheap, but I don't want it to just be cheap. I want it to be valuable. So in case you're like, I don't know if I need help with this, DM me. I don't bite and I'd love to talk to you. And if there's a problem that you want solved specifically, I can always create a course and some work about it in the program. I want the community to be a community based on what you guys need, not what I think you need. I've tried building a business on what I think you need and I'm working on it, but yeah. Okay, this is the person I'm talking to. Hello, excuse me, I have a few questions. Yes, ask whatever you want. My mom passed away from alcoholic pancreatitis. Alcohol is bad. I agree with you, but we can't help people quit alcohol by saying it's bad, right? It's not gonna work, right? That's not, because it's almost like we're judging and we're shameful, right? We can't bring that into a situation where we're gonna help somebody. So it's like, I genuinely understand why people want to drink. I do it. I get it. I drank a lot my whole life. I just drank this weekend. So I'm very fresh with my beliefs on spirituality and alcohol. And I don't know if they're going to last. Honestly, I'm trying to be genuine about that. But the way that you quit a substance isn't by shaming yourself about the substance or judging, right? It's by looking with curiosity and compassion why we're doing the substance, right? Because right now, if you're using a substance, it's because you think that your life is better with it. So why? Why do you think your life's better? What's left without the substance? We'll talk. I've got to stop saying the S word because they're going to block me on TikTok if I keep saying it. That's a word that they do not like. All right. Found out my graduation. Vaping. So this is what I'm talking about, right? As you said, vaping brings you peace. Vaping does not bring you peace. Okay. It helps you stop feeling whatever was there that wasn't peace. For example, I'm anxious right now. I'm going to vape. Now I'm not anxious. Well, that's not peace. That's not anxious. The real thing is saying that that's not peace that it brought you. It brought you the absence of anxiety. Very important distinction. Very important. Really, truly, very, very important. Because if you keep believing that vaping is making you feel peaceful, you're always going to have to be doing it. Because then you can't feel peace without vaping. Well, the good news is it's not doing that. It's just helping you not feel the uncomfortable emotions that were there before you vaped. Just be mindful of that. I don't care if you vape. It's all good. I'm not judging you. I'm not shaming you. It's all good. Just you want to tell the truth of your life so that if the truth makes you want to change, the problem with a lot of people's lives is that we're lying to ourselves and we don't like the lives we're in. So before we create a life that we like, we have to start telling the truth, and that's uncomfortable. Can I talk about phone addiction? Yeah, it's been designed to be addictive. Hollywood's evil. They're all in the Illuminati. This app is full of censorship. I'm sure that they're connected. Like, phones are designed to keep you small and a low vibe so that you can't create the powerful life that you know that I know that you're capable of creating as a divine creator. Okay. Banana Milk. Hey, welcome, Banana Milk. Good to have you. Banana Milk, you better join my damn community when I have it. You've been following me for a while now. Found out my graduation date got pushed even more. I want to give up. Don't you dare. Don't you dare. What? Listen, I found out that I didn't make $1 million this year in my business, and I want to give up too, but I'm not going to. Because if I give up, I'm never going to make $1 million. And if you give up, you're never going to graduate. It's like, oh, my date got moved 2 weeks. Now I'm going to give up. Well, it's like you're guaranteeing you're going to fail if you give up. Don't let the man win. Laura, how do you start believing you're worthy of genuine friends who support you? Understand the basic foundational work that your thoughts are optional. That's why in the community I'm going to do, I'm not just saying to go to the community just to say it. Like, I really believe that this is the answer. I believe that's why I'm creating the community I'm creating. You have to understand how your thoughts are optional, and I have tools for that. There's not just one tool to do it. There's a whole bunch. I'm going to teach you 1 or 2 or 3, and then you get to use those tools to actually start to shift your beliefs. Okay? That is what life coaches teach. Tools that you can actually apply to shift your beliefs so that you can believe you're a worthy person so you create the worthy life. Okay? Cassie, if you can't stop vaping, go to my Quit Vaping podcast, #1 in the world for that substance, and it'll help you tremendously. Cheryl, what was the name of the podcast about alcohol that you just mentioned? The podcast about alcohol. Oh, it was, oh God, what's her name? It was Kanye West was talking about it. And the girl, who's the black girl who was like Republican? She's amazing. She's so pretty. She's so smart. She was just pregnant. Oh, what's her name? It's right on the tip of my tongue. Right when I let it go, I'll get it. But it was on her podcast, and Kanye was on it. Candace Owens, yes, she's amazing. She's amazing. She's just so intelligent. She's so well-spoken. I love her beliefs, and they're just so good. But yeah. Cheryl, what was the name? Yes. So just look up Candace Owens and Kanye talking about alcohol. You'll find it. I quit, and now a new addiction is food with cause I have an ED. Okay, if you quit a substance and then you jump to food, it's because the exact same emotional problem that underlies all substances still exists. Okay, so if I used to do this, I quit vaping, I'd overeat. Well, it's like, why? Because I thought vaping was a problem. It wasn't. It was always the emotions behind me vaping. So because I didn't deal with the emotions behind me vaping when I quit, I just transferred that emotional problem to food, right? So I'm just saying, I believe in eating disorders. I do. I think binge eating disorder is actually completely hogwash. I think that's completely bullshit. Binge eating disorder is fucked, and I'm going to stand on that my whole career. It's not real. But I do believe in anorexia, and believe me, I've seen it when I worked in the psych hospital. I believe in that, okay? But don't self-diagnose yourself with an eating disorder, because that's not helpful. And sometimes you don't have a disorder, you just have an emotional problem, okay? That's creating a result you don't want. So before you label yourself, make sure if you're going to get a label, you go to somebody who's licensed, who can label you, not me. I'm just giving you my opinion after working in the psych hospital and having a 4-year in psych. I'm not diagnosing. Sometimes I think that diagnoses actually do a disservice to the person because we're preemptively diagnosing something that doesn't need a diagnosis. I think a lot of the times, and I believe this, we're labeling normal psychology as abnormal because we don't understand how emotions work. So that's my take on that. So if you quit one substance and you switch over to a different one, you have an emotional problem. You probably don't have a disorder. It's a normal emotional problem. Most people have normal emotional problems because our society isn't teaching people how to deal with their emotions. Okay? Like, I could have gotten diagnosed with 1,000 different types of substance use disorder, by the way, and I'm so happy I didn't because I didn't have a disorder. I had my emotions suck. I don't know how to deal with them. And weed is amazing, and vaping is amazing, and food tastes great, right? Like, that was a problem. So just be mindful of that. Okay. Clara Jones, I love your name. Join my community, Clara. I want you in my community, Clara. I don't know why, just because your name. At least DM me. Tell me what you want help with. Tips on helping with self-love. Yes, how does one fall in love with oneself? Start. It's a process, okay? The reason you don't love yourself right now is because as a kid and as a young adult and as a regular adult, you've had all these experiences that form belief systems, okay? So all these experiences form belief systems, and they're not very nice. And there's a lot of psychological reasons for why you believe the things you do, but it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that if you want to start loving yourself, you have to start changing the main narrative in your head, your beliefs and your thoughts about yourself, right? There's a myriad of ways to do this. I think one of the best ways to do it is to learn very practical tools of how to change your beliefs, and then to go and actually make it a practice to ask yourself good questions, to start doing that on purpose in your day-to-day. Catching thoughts that don't feel good, and this is what coaching is all about. So I think that really, and this is my personal experience, and I don't think it's polarized to say this, because it's my experience, is I believe coaching is the best way to do that because that's the experience I had in my life. So I would recommend you get into a situation where you can learn coaching tools on belief changing, and then you learn how to practice those tools in a real world setting. That's exactly what I teach. That's exactly what I'm building my community. I'd love to have you there, and it's going to be really, really cheap or free. I'm not sure yet. And if it's cheap, it'll be like $7 a month, which is ridiculously affordable for anyone. I mean, I don't care if you're in college. I don't care if you're 16 years old and you got your first job, you can afford that, right? I overeat because I'm bulking. Is that good? Yeah, as long as you like the reason. Do I know Rocco Cipriano? No, but I know a Rocco. It's a podcast on Spotify. It's everywhere, girl. It's on podcast, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, podcasters. It's everywhere. It's one of the biggest podcasts. Well, it's the biggest one in the world on vaping, but it's also I think it's in the top 2.5% of all podcasts, so you'll find it anywhere. I'm very proud of that. Thanks, Jimmy. Fatma. I think there's like an I read that didn't exist. Always struggle to bridge the gap. I'm missing words today. There goes the I. Did you see what I just did? I added an I to Fatima, and then I took out the I in bridge. Weird how our brains work, right? That was weird. Always struggle to bridge the gap between who I am and who I want to be. Yeah, we all do. That's why I think it's good to have people helping you change your belief systems on purpose. Thanks, Emmy. I appreciate that. Okay, how to quit vaping? Yes. So what I do if I have the same problem because it's the same. Yes, if you want to quit vaping, I have 2 resources for you to get into this work. One of them is free, one of them is paid. The free one is the Quit Vaping podcast. The paid one is the Escape the Vape course, which is a 5.5-hour course where I teach you everything. The podcast is great. Honestly, I think you can start there for free. And then if you still need help, the course will help you actually learn and apply the information if you can't apply it yourself from the podcast. Okay. How do I quit carts? Same thing. We got to learn how to deal with the emotions behind the scenes. Now, my problem with weed, okay, listen, I don't think weed's bad. I smoked religiously for 3 years straight. I mean, literally, until I got a DUI and I had a drug test. So weed is not a problem. It's just a really good way to numb your life. So my only problem with the whole entire weed industry now is that a lot of people are using it to avoid lives they're not happy in. It's like, I think of weed as like an opiate for the masses, right? Who said that? Karl Marx said he said religion's an opiate for the masses. I don't believe that's true. I think that substances in modern society are opioids. They're distractors for our lives that are not happy because there's people that want to control us. Okay, so if you're smoking any substance every single day, it's not good for you, and it's most likely disempowering you, and it's also allowing you to tolerate a life you're not actually happy in. And that's exactly what the people in the I know I'm going to get all spiritual, or I'm going to get all controversial here, but like there's the Illuminati, right? They want to control you. How do they control you? They have celebrities sell alcohol. They have people legalize weeds and endorse it all the time on advertisements. They have online gambling. They have vape companies just make them as cheap and accessible as possible. They have TV that are mind-numbing shows, right? Like, how do we numb people so that they don't realize that their lives aren't what they want, right? We can control them. So if you're smoking weed every single day, it's because you're not happy with a bunch of things in your life. It has to be that way. Nobody who smokes weed every single day is completely happy with their life without weed. That's why you're using weed. It just makes sense logically. It follows. I'm not saying that's wrong or bad, but that's the reason you're smoking, because you don't like your life without it. Period. Right? So that's okay. But if you want help with that, I can teach you how to manage your life and how to actually think about your life and acknowledge the things you're not happy in so that we can clean those up and create a life where you don't need to be high all the time. All right, I got restricted because I said weed. Shit. How long has this been going on for? All right, I've been on for an hour and 30 minutes anyway, so I'm getting off. You guys, this has been a really fucking good live. I feel so good about this. So, yeah, Tony, I can't remember my life. That's how I felt about vaping. I couldn't remember my life without it. And what I had to do was learn how to manage my thoughts and my emotions. And once I got to that place, I realized it wasn't even about weed, honestly. Okay? So if you want help with that and you're interested, like, DM me here. DM me, say, Andrew, your community sounds great. I want to learn the tools. I really do. I want to get a hold of my life. And what I'm going to do is create 2 foundational courses. I'm going to teach you about your thoughts and your emotions. I'm also going to teach you about your brain, the chemistry of your brain, how it works. Those 2 courses are going to change everything for you. And then every single month onto that, I'm going to take a poll and figure out what people want. And then I'm going to build the next course. It could be on relationships. It could be on how to know what you want, setting goals and achieving them. It could be on overeating, vaping, whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Every single month, I'm going to add a course that's going to be very high value. And then throughout the month, we're going to be in there talking about the tools, applying them, learning how to be more self-conscious about ourselves, not conscious, self-aware, learning how to be more self-loving. And I'm going to do coaching calls as well. So there's going to be a call every week. It's going to be really good. Emmy, I'm going to write a book at some point, but right now I'm learning how to find my voice. So after I build the big following and the big impact I want to leave, I'll write a book. But right now, I at least want to get further along. I've been doing this for 3 years. I'm very good at what I do. I love it. And I have been doing a lot of things in my business that haven't felt aligned because other people in the industry have told me that's what I should do. And that's unfortunate. So I'm learning how to be myself. I would love to have you in my... Thanks, Tony. I appreciate it. I would seriously love to have you guys in my private community. And it's either going to be free or it's going to be $7 a month. I think I'm leaning towards $7 because I want to also be able to feed myself. You know what I mean? I think free is great, but... anyways, I'm working on it, but whatever I charge is going to be way under the value I provide, okay? And I want to get to know you. I want to know your life. I want to know about you. I want to create a whole movement where people are getting access to these tools in an accessible way that's completely changed your life, because I've spent $30,000 on life coaching over the last couple of years, which is ridiculous, and that shouldn't happen. Like, you should have access. I literally just thought I hit my head on a brick wall. This is a green screen. Okay, sorry. Somebody said, please answer me. So, 1 minute. Emmy, DM me and tell me what you want to get out of the community. I would love to talk to you about it, okay? I'm 19, I currently don't know what to do with my life. I want you to join my community. The way that I have the answer for that is I think that you do know, but you're scared to admit it. When I was 19 years old, I had a lot of dreams for myself, and I was really scared to actually admit those because I didn't think any of them were possible. So I ended up spending literally 10 years going to college because my parents thought I should, getting jobs that other people said were right for me, and I had to learn how to find my own voice. So I don't believe that people don't know what they want, right? And here's how, let's do this exercise before I get off. What's up, Willow? All right, so here's an exercise for everyone before we get off, okay? Would you rather have $1 million or $0? Every single person on here said $1 million. Would you rather have a fun car that's like exactly what you want, that's sporty and fun and nice and luxurious, or would you rather have a piece of shit beater that's like the wheels are falling off? Option one. Would you rather have a partner that loves you, that you guys get to travel together, or would you rather be alone and by yourself? Most people would say option one, but some people wouldn't want a partner. That's okay. So the whole point of asking questions like these is to show you actually do know what you want. A lot of the times, you might not know exactly what that's going to look like, but the big questions you've got answered, right? Do you want to have a job that pays you well or pays you crappy? Well, do you want to have a job that feels free and exciting or one that feels horrible and stuck? Option one. So you know what you want. You just probably don't believe that it's possible for you and you don't know how to get it. And that's the problem. So what I'm going to help you do is understand how to manage your thoughts and your emotions. And from that place, we start taking baby steps towards our actual life that we want. Okay? So being 19 years old is a beautiful time to learn these tools. DM me. I'd love to have you. DM me and be like, hey, I'm interested in learning more. That's going to come up one more time. So anyone who hasn't DM'd me yet, DM me and be like, hey, I'm interested. And we'll talk. I'll get in a conversation with you. I'll try to help. And then I'll give you a community that's going to hopefully provide the tools and the transformation you want for a ridiculously good price. Okay? So awesome. I'm going to go. It's been 90 minutes. That's what I promised myself I'd do. And thanks for being here, guys. All right. See ya.